long time no talk. I feel like it's been a very long time since we got to actually chat with each other, so I hope that you have been awesome. I'm excited to be back and have things back on a normal schedule and routine and things like that. So today we're going to be talking about some of the books that I read in the last year that I have not gotten to update you about. Like, these things genuinely make me happy, getting to talk to you about these books and these movies and interact with you in the comments and things like that. So I'm very excited to be back doing these. And yeah, let's just get started. These are physical books that I read in the last year-ish. And yeah, I guess I'll just explain as we go. So we're actually going to start with the books that I'm unhauling because these have been stacking up in my room and I'm ready to get rid of them. So first, we have His Shield by Sue Brown. And our little tagline is, will Jake live long enough to get a second chance at a happy ever after with the man he walked away from without a word? This was supposed to be like a escaped convict coming to get revenge, and it was just boring. It was painfully boring. It was a group of like elite soldiers, mostly just locked in a bar drinking Dr. Pepper. Why was I there? It ended like at page 160, but the book kept going for 40 more pages, which was confusing because it didn't have anything to say or do. I was so ready to be done with it. Next, we have The Secret by May Archer. This is still wrapped. I got it in a book box, and I had listened to the audiobook before I knew it was coming in the book box, and it was fine. It's cute. It's from Mahogany Mail book box, and it's about a guy who owns a flower shop who falls for somebody who owns the competition flower shop. But don't worry, it's okay. That person really wants to do landscaping, so they work it out in the end. It was very cute. If you like Hallmark kind of romances, this was good. I usually like a little bit more drama in my romance than what was there. This is Forever by Sloane Kennedy. I kind of thought about keeping this, one, because I love this cover, and two, because I have several other books by Sloane Kennedy. I have like 5 other books by Sloane Kennedy, and I've enjoyed them, but I really actually hated this book. He bound the 4 of us together in a way that no longer seemed even a little bit wrong. It's 2 couples that get together to make 4. And it didn't work. They didn't come together. The characters were not well developed enough. And when they came together as 2 couples, it just felt weird. The author has written a similar premise successfully. So I don't know what happened here, but it did not work for me. It just felt stilted, and none of the couples really felt like they belonged together. Like, no individual really felt like they belonged in this situation. So next we have Audition by Ryu Murakami. There's a movie based on this, and I enjoyed the movie substantially more than I enjoyed the book, which doesn't happen very often. But this is about a man who decides to find a new wife by holding auditions for actresses, and then slowly weed out the applicants until he decides to date one of them and get married. But it turns out he picks a crazy psycho killer. So yeah, it's when year was this book written? I feel like this book had copyright 1997. Yeah, it great sex scenes, and the second half is 1960s gangster. I don't know, it's a weird mix of something. It somehow still worked. I don't know how to explain what this book is about in a way that conveys what it's about, but also doesn't ruin the story. But it came together in a weird way. I don't feel like on paper it should have. The characters are somehow charming while also not being very well fleshed out. But the first half of the book is just so, like, it doesn't relate to the second half of the book really in any capacity. So that was a confusing time. Then we have The Violent Season by Sarah Walters. That's what happened in Wolf Ridge every November. We were haunted by images and dreams of murdering strangers and friends and ourselves. Everyone knew it was real, but everyone pretended it wasn't. I hated this book. It's supposed to be, I don't know, based on that blurb, based on that. And the premise, the whole first half of the book, you think that it's supposed to be like a supernatural-esque haunting, monster, something like that-esque, and it's not. It's just mental health. So mental health as a plot twist, as a plot device, I guess, not a twist. Mental health as a plot device, and also not delivering on a premise. No, immediately no. Did I already tell you that my heat is on because it's 6 degrees? It's 6 degrees outside, and I can't turn my heat off. It's too cold. So, I'm sorry if you can hear that. Next, we have A Universe of Witches. No, wishes. Like genie wishes. This is an anthology, so each, like, short story is written by a different author. And it's not that I disliked this. I actually kind of enjoyed it. Oh, here's all the authors that are part of the collection. But it's not that I disliked this. It's that I think every author got the same prompt, and the prompt was too specific. So it felt like I was kind of just rereading the same story over and over and over again. Like, you can copy my homework but change your answers, you know? Just enough to not get caught. That's kind of what this felt like. So I enjoyed all the stories. It's just, I felt they were very repetitive because it's all just genies granting wishes. And they all just wrote the same version of that, but like in different settings is really all that changed. Like, a genie grants wishes in space, a genie grants wishes in the desert. It was like, okay, bro, I get it, but it was fine, just not very original. And then, last but not least, for the unhauls is Marriage is Murder by Amy Nicole Walker. This is book 2 in the Sawyer and Royce Matrimony Mayhem. I have read several of the Sawyer and Royce books because I got them for free on Audible. They had like a full collection, and so I listened to them, and I'm gonna be honest, they're boring. I just didn't care. The characters aren't allowed to have any real conflict. Like, every time the conflict happens, it has to be so quickly and falsely resolved that you don't care about it. It just, and the detective work was, hello, Lucky. The detective work was mediocre at best. Like, the girls in my chat group could do better detective work than you guys. I don't know. It was boring. I don't recommend. Okay, so that was the books that were unhauling. So now let's talk about books I read that I actually liked. Hold on, I have to switch some things up. Okay, now let's do some non-fiction books that I read in the last year. If you haven't watched one of my videos like this before, I read weird non-fiction. I'm so sorry. None of Us Were Like This Before by Joshua E.S. Phillips. says, "None of us were like this before," recounts the dark journey of a tank battalion as its focus switched from conventional military duties to guerrilla warfare and prisoner detention. Tells the story of ordinary soldiers ill-trained for the responsibilities foisted upon them, who descended into a cycle of degradation that led to the abuse of detainees. This was very informative. I think one of the good things this book does is the author really knows his audience, and so a lot of the points that he makes, I think, are very important to the type of person that would probably pick this up or that could benefit from picking this up. I don't feel like he made a lot of crazy leaps, or like he's talking about how this impacts both the individual that was detained but also the person doing the detaining. So it was just an interesting discussion all around. I mean, it's heartbreaking, it's devastating, and the author starts because a soldier's mom asks him to look into it, so it was really good if that sounds interesting. Next we have The Butchering Art by Lindsay Fitzharris. Joseph Lister's quest to transform the grisly world of Victorian medicine, and this is pretty much exactly what the book is about. A history of surgery, a history of Joseph Lister, who, and his contributions to surgery, I guess. It was enjoyable. I do wish it had had a broader scope, but overall, it was what it says on the tin. It was good. I wasn't sure if I read this last year or the year before, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, but I'm going to talk about it now. Beirut 2020 Diary of the Collapse by Sharif Majadal. This is about the summer of 2020, where Lebanon is experiencing an economic crisis, and then the explosion on August 4th of 2,700 tons of ammonium nitrate at a port in Beirut. This was fascinating. First and foremost, it is a diary, so it's told like each chapter is a diary entry. So it's very fast, very short, and also that makes it very easy to read. And I don't feel like I knew nothing about this going in, and I don't feel like that hinders your experience. I don't think you have to have a huge knowledge of the situation. Going in, they tell you everything you need to know. So as an introduction to this kind of topic, I thought this was great. Chip War by, Chris Miller. The fight for the world's most critical technology, but I liked what they did with the chip on the flag. I thought that was fun. This is an epic account of the decades-long battle to control the world's most critical resources, microchip technology, with the United States and China increasingly in conflict. It was very interesting. I think this was a good discussion of manufacturing as a whole, and especially with increased globalization, how it's not just where is a part, like where is my laptop fully assembled, where does each component in my laptop come from, how is each component made, how does the delay of one product impact the product as a whole. So I enjoyed this. My husband works in vehicle manufacturing sector, so he fully appreciated this. We listened to this on an audiobook together. Yeah, this was very interesting. Highly recommend it. And then I think this is the last nonfiction. Hold on. Almost the last nonfiction. So, I read this when I was in California. We left about a week and a half before the Palisades fire, which was just horrific. The Palisades and the Eaton fires were just devastating. It's just awful. So, we were there I mean, literally, we were right there until a week and a half before the fires happened. And while we were there, I happened to read this book, which was California Burning, and it is about specifically about the Camp Fire, which was in Northern California. It was California's deadliest and most destructive wildfire, and mostly this is a history of PG&E, specifically electric. It's Pacific Gas and Electric, Pacific Electric, and how failing infrastructure and company policies have impacted the fire season. So this was fascinating. Highly recommend if that sounds. Honestly, I highly recommend. I'm somebody who's read a lot about this topic. I've watched a lot of documentaries, and I still think this brought interesting and new things to the table. So highly recommend. And then the actual last nonfiction book is Persepolis, the story of a childhood by Marjane Satrapi. This is a graphic novel, and it's essentially a memoir, autobiography situation of the author's time growing up in Iran. And again, this was fascinating, not a subject I'm super familiar with, and I think she did a great job of explaining relevant history as it applied and came up in the moment. So this is a classic. It's very popular for a reason. It was very good. Okay, next let's do series that I read. So I read the Exiled Heir, the Empty Throne trilogy by Kai Butler. This is about, what are their names? Hello. Yeah, did you want to say hello to your fans? Come here. Yeah, we're so cool. We're so cool. Everyone pause for a lucky break. Yeah. He's so confused about why we're all on the floor. Okay. Yeah, I know you're a good boy. So, this is about Miles and Cade. Cade is a prince who lives in a palace where everyone is trying to kill him, and Miles is who he hires to be his bodyguard and to help figure out what's going on. I read the first book, which is this the first book? I think it's the first book, Exiled Heir, and then Contested Crown, and then Ascendant King. So first and foremost, I don't know why it looks like there's a different couple on each book, because it follows the same pairing. But whatever. And also this book series, yeah, you're a good boy. Sorry. This book series it started out strong. The premise is good, and book one was good. We had palace intrigue and politics and all kinds of things, and then nothing. Then it falls apart very immediately. Hold on one second. So this follows Cade, who is a prince in a magic court situation, and Miles, who he hires to be his bodyguard to help him determine who is trying to kill him. So this has a fascinating magic system where the mages have to rely on werewolves in order to draw magic kind of situation. That was really interesting. The court politics were really interesting. Book one, fantastic premise. Unfortunately, it goes absolutely nowhere. Book 2 and 3 just are so aggressively meh. The characters don't go anywhere interesting. Cade kind of is he mostly has his issue resolved in book 1, and then we kind of just forget that he exists, which is unfortunate because he's a main character. Miles has a good storyline, but only kind of. It didn't work, and it didn't need to be 3 books. I think it probably could have been 2, and interest or less focus on the relationship that did need to be addressed, and like it was relevant to the plot because of how the magic system works. So like it went nowhere. I'm mad about it. I've loved Kai Butler's other series. It's one of my favorite series of all times. So I was really disappointed that this one, it just didn't deliver. Okay, next. I read the Six of, what am I looking at? I read the Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo and The Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. First of all, can we discuss these covers? Absolutely stunning. Also, I got them on Bingo Books for like $4 each, which is also stunning. Sprayed edges, like, they're beautiful. I love them. This follows, it has a map. Y'all, beautiful. Okay, anyway. This follows Cass Brecker, who is a criminal mastermind of sorts, and he has to put together a team to steal something, and that's kind of all I'm going to tell you. That's mostly all that I knew about it going in, and I think that was the right call. I will say I have read other Leigh Bardugo books, and I thought they were fine. I did not love them, but I did love these. So if you're in the same boat, still check these out. And these have been out for a while, so I feel like you've probably heard of these and have already read them, but if you haven't, they were really good. It's a duology, which I like. It's fast-paced. I like all the characters. It has some, there's actual stakes for the characters, and yeah, it was delightful. I feel like on paper I shouldn't like these. It has a large cast of characters, which I usually hate. It's a heist, which I am usually iffy on. Like, just a lot of things together in this book I shouldn't like, but it was all fantastic. I liked every character. I thought the heist was good. I thought the build-up and the pacing were great, so I enjoyed that one. Next, I read what is this? The Dreamer Trilogy. I apparently never know what any of these are called. I'm like, I don't know, I picked the blue one off my shelf. What do you want from me? So we have book 1 is called On the Hook. Book 2 is Mr. Impossible, and book 3 is The Great Warren. And I like this cover. It's good. It's solid. I hate this cover. And I love this cover. And I just think that's a lot of range on one book series. This series follows Ronan and his brothers as they fight to save the world, basically. I liked this tentatively. I like Ronan. Ronan was my favorite character from the Raven Boys series. I liked seeing the brothers in this and have them get a little bit more character development. I thought the storylines were decent. I wouldn't say they were brilliant, but they were fine. But I did think it was weird how uninvolved the characters from the Raven Boys were in this. Like, the author just didn't want to talk about them anymore, so she didn't. But it doesn't really make sense in the tie-in. In terms of like where we left off with Ronan and where we're picking up with Ronan, there should have been more. Also, some of these just dragged a little bit. In some points there were too many extra side characters that we didn't care about. In some points it was just really slow. Like, it kind of felt like every character was being led along on a leash to the plot points. So it was fine, but I did not love it. And that's what I get for buying a full series before I read it. So that's a learning opportunity. Then I think I have 2 more books in this series. Okay. The Sunshine Part, y'all, by Nora Sakovic. I never know how to pronounce her name. I'm telling you, I never know the name of book series. The Foxhole Court series, All for the Game. That's what it's called. All for the Game series. Absolutely one of my top tier favorite books of all time. I read this was 10 out of 5 stars. This follows Sean and from Evermore, and then Jeremy Knox from the Trojans. It was everything I didn't know I wanted. It absolutely top tier. Immediately. Immediate favorite. This is also going to be a duology, but the author has not announced when book 2 comes out, and I'm immediately ready. Like, call out the sick work that day. Ready. Okay, Danger Zone. This is in the Elite series by Ella Frank and Brooke Blaine. I haven't opened this yet. Again, it came in a book box and I had it on audiobook. I am gonna keep this one though. I really enjoyed this. This is kind of Top Gun inspired, and I thought that was gonna go. I was iffy on it, but actually the characters were great. The story was very fun. It was appropriately action-packed, appropriately paced. The ending is a major cliffhanger. They train to serve their country. They strive to be the best, but only if you can be the elite. So yeah, this was very fun. I haven't read book 2 yet, which hurts me because it does end on a cliffhanger. Also, I'm upset that I only have book 1 in like the special edition format. Also from Mahogany Mailbox, and I need the rest of the series to match what is happening. I need the rest of the series to match, so I'm upset about that. But otherwise, love this. I was also kind of nervous because I've read a few books by this author duo, and some of them are boring. I'm just gonna say it. Some of them are tired. This was not one of them. This was really good. And then I think that's all my book series. So now let's do standalones. Okay, next we have. I just said these were going to be standalones. This doesn't count. It's book 1 in a series, and book 2 is not out. Murder Your Employer, McMaster's Guide to Homicide by Rupert Holmes. This, first of all, absolutely love this cover. Beautiful, stunning, no notes. Also has a map. This is kind of exactly what the title says. It is a person who has decided he's going to murder his employer, and he does it badly. So he gets recruited to a school where they teach him the tricks of the trade. It's very fun. I thought it was fun. I thought it was quirky, kind of interesting. It's kind of like formal British quirky humor, if that makes any sense. So you meet the whole cast of characters at the school. You see who everyone is trying to murder, and like their techniques that they're gonna use. It was enjoyable. So I think book 2 follows. I think does book 2 follow someone else at the school? Honestly, I don't know. I also really liked the way that this book was told. Like chapter 1 is from the journal of. It just had a unique story presentation style that I enjoyed. Yeah, the ending was very satisfying. It was what it was supposed to be. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Okay. Next is a book you just saw me open, but I've already read it. Dark Harvest by Norman Partridge. I have no idea how to tell you what this book is about. So first and foremost, there is a movie based on this book, which I did not know. I watched the movie before the book because I didn't know that the book existed. So once I learned that there was a book, I did immediately get it. I enjoyed the movie. I loved the book. I will tell you, I don't really recommend either of these things to other people. They were for me. I read them. I enjoyed them. It was great. But it's a unique narration style. So it's Halloween 1963. They call him the October Boy or Old Hacksaw Face or Sawtooth Jack. Whatever the name, everybody in this small Midwestern town knows who he is and how he rises from the cornfield every Halloween, a bloody butcher knife in his hand, and makes his way toward town, where gangs of teenage boys eagerly await their chance to confront the legendary nightmare. Both the hunter and the hunted, the October Boy is the prize in the annual rite of life and death. I don't feel like this was particularly like twisted twisty or turny or even particularly horrific. Somebody left a review that they thought it was mostly just sad, and they're not wrong, but I enjoyed it. Also, it's kind of told in second person, which I don't feel like everyone will enjoy. Like, there's a lot of points in the book where the author is talking to you, and it's I'm not trying to dissuade you from reading this, but I am telling you it was for me and I enjoyed it, and I really feel like most other people are gonna think it's meh. The prose is very flowery and very vivid imagery. The characters are very cliche, and I still liked it. I don't care. So, a Midwestern town, you know its name. You were born there. It's Halloween 1963 and getting on toward dark. Things are the same as they've always been. There's the main street, the old brick church in town square, the movie theater, this year with a Vincent Price double bill. And past all that is the road that leads out of town. It's black as a licorice whip under an October sky, black as the night that's coming and the long winter nights that will follow, black as the little town it leaves behind. So, yeah. Next, a classic, we have Kiki's Delivery Service. There's also a movie based off of this. This is about a girl who, when she turns, I think 12, did I just make that up? When she turns shockingly young, her 13th birthday, she has to move to a new town and be the witch for that town and provide witchy services. In this case, she provides delivery services on her broom. It was cute. It was exactly what it was supposed to be. It's definitely written for a younger audience. It was charming. I feel like you probably have heard of Kiki's Delivery Service. The movie is also cute. When a Monk Rose by Veronica Roth. I went into this knowing absolutely nothing and honestly kind of thought I was going to hate it. And then it was 5 stars. So I was wrong. Happily, I was incorrect and it was delightful. And let's see. Pain is Demeter's calling. His family is one in a long line of hunters who sacrifice their souls to slay monsters. Now he's tasked with a deadly mission. Find the legendary witch Baba Yaga. To reach her, Demeter must ally with the one he's sworn to kill. So this follows 3 different characters basically on a quest. I can't really tell you anything about it because it is super short. But it was fun. It was not really what I expected it to be, and it was enjoyable. I also have read Arch-Conspirator by Veronica Roth. I mean, obviously I read the Divergent series by Veronica Roth, but I did also recently read Arch-Conspirator. It was okay. I enjoyed this much more. Next, we have Brother by Anya Allborn. I had a coworker who read this book and they were gonna unhaul it and they sent it to me if I wanted it and I took it. This is Appalachia horror. A serial killer family lives in the mountains. I mean, it's pretty standard, what you expect it to be. I enjoyed it as much as you're gonna enjoy it, right? I thought the family was awful, which they're supposed to be. The serial killing was serial killing. I mean, this was literally as advertised. So if that's something that you like, then I would recommend. If it's something you hate, I don't know why you would read it. Personally, I enjoyed it. I don't actually enjoy that horror in movie format, but in book format, it seems to work for me. So here we are. And then last but not least, we have Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. I have not read The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. This was their first book that I had read, and I loved it. I don't feel like on paper I should have loved it, but I did. We follow Viola, who's a struggling real estate agent and a vampire, who's trying to sell a house that's haunted, and so they go to Fox Demora, who is a medium and also Death's son. to see how to get rid of this ghost, and then they find out Death has gone missing, and a whole gang of people goes on a quest to find Death. It was weird. The characters are all over the place. About halfway through the book, we just switch main characters for no apparent reason. There's some unexpected romance stories that don't always make sense. It's working, like the plot is all over the place. I loved it. It was weird in all the ways that I wanted it to be weird, especially with this cover and this title. I just felt like it delivered on the premise of weird real estate agent has a weird day. Like that was all I wanted. That's what I got. I was happy. So that is all of the books. That's not all of the books. That's many of the books that I've read in the last year. Let me know what books you have read, what books you have loved, what books you've hated. Give me some book recommendations in the comments below. And next week we're going to talk about movies, so I hope you're ready. And yeah, thank you so much